Queen d2. My bishop d2. Castles. Castle queenside. b6. 95. And then bishop b7. With an attack there. And now let's do. There we go. f4. King d5. I mean bishop knight d5. King b1. f6. Yeah. Takes pawn. Bishop takes. Queen takes. And then queen e. So check and king h8. And you have an equal position at this point. You have an equal position. We'll see if there's a game that applies to it. Should be. Yep, there it is. Topalov versus Nacha Sandingo. Jesus. That's his name, Jesus. So it was a draw. 1996. Vasilin Topalov. Okay, so now that we've gone through one of those, let's get on to our we'll get on to our Marshall game. Let's see here. Alright, this is a bishop, the bishop opening, and it's P.S. Len Hart as white, and F.J. Marshall as black. He says white embarks on an ingenious combination which is topped by a better one. So white actually does an ingenious idea. e4, e5. So basically, they're both doing bishop moves. Okay, so king knight comes to f6. Then d3, d5. Bishop takes. Knight takes. The same line was played in game 6. Here my opponent is a much finer statistician, basically, or statistician, or whatever they call that. So knight to f3, knight c6. White castles. The bishop comes out to g4. I mean b4. Rook to e1. Wait a second. How could that? Doesn't seem right. Okay, I got it. It's this here. There we go. This is to keep scope on this pawn here. Bishop to e7 to get ready to castle, and then h6 or h3. I mean, bishop h5. I was willing to lose the knight pawn in order to provoke the following weakening move. Bishop g6, knight takes, and then rook takes. Knight to d6, and that provokes. See, this provokes a tremendous amount of weaknesses around f3, g3. There's even a weakness on g2, and potentially kind of looks like what do they call that? That yeah, Tetris. This kind of looks like a Tetris thing, but this is the weaknesses that are vulnerable for an attack by provoking this push here. So bishop to b3. The attempt to prevent black from castling with queen e2 doesn't actually work, is pointless, because knight takes. Hey, how you doing, chess 360? Pawn takes knight, and then bishop f6, and it's like, okay, rook e6, and then king to f7, and it's like, okay, knight comes in, and okay, let's say you get this knight in here. It could easily be taken care of with rook to e8, and then now white's in a world of hurt with a rook coming down hard on him, like a sledgehammer. So black just castled and got out of there. Knight c3, king to rook 1. This is so that we can get ready to play h8, I mean f5, and try to kind of pry open and allow a rook to come smashing down. Gotta always be looking at these tactics. And this is to get the queen out to f8, bring the rook over. So to get this happening, so at the right moment there'd be support. Bishop to d6. Now we have here, we got this coming down, we have this coming in. So it's like, hello, we've got a tremendous attack coming down the pike, my friend. And you don't really have much of anything. Your pieces are developed, but they're not attacking anything. We are attacking, and that's how we want to keep it. He actually played a really good move. E2 exclam. He sees kind of what's coming down the, as I like to say, down the pipeline, and it's this pawn move, and so that when we take and we take back, he's got a rook that's defending f2. So very well played. The move prevents the doubling, prepares doubling of rooks on the king file without the loss of time. Also makes possible the extra maneuver of queen f1 Then knight can go potentially to, I think it's e4 or something like that. I think that's what he was talking about. So something to do with this here, rook's doubled, and potentially knight, and then coming down here and trying to get in. But that's a pretty long. But it's actually White's best attempt, though, if you want to think about it. White's severely behind, and see, there we go. There's f5, kabang. And so Black's just gets along with this, with their plan. Queen to f1. White's trying their hardest to get the doubling. Then they can have some control over this. But I still prefer Black, even though the computer says it's a 0.41. I still prefer Black here. I think Black has more opportunity for an attack. And sometimes the computers will actually change their from a move. They'll change their an analysis of that move. Like after pawn takes pawn, it's going to be interesting. Pawn takes pawn, to kind of see what it says about this. Oh, it actually says it improved White's advantage by a 0.03 or 0.04. Huh. I guess it's because you really don't have an ability to take scope on that yet, do you? But true, you do have a you do have potentially rook f8, and then potentially queen here, and then rook in, and you have a Alekhine gun, which is really nice. Queen to h4. Queen g2. Knight d7, knight d7, and then hoping to get my knight to, oh, he wants to get here. Yeah, that would cause a lot more chaos, wouldn't it? Because then you're attacking these 2 points rather than just attacking this one. So here would cause a lot of mayhem right there. Right here. That would be sweet. Nice. I like that. I like this move here. I now see why Marshall went for it. And so he kind of changed up. He can't play this anymore. And if you were thinking this, he can't play this anymore. He'd lose 2 minor pieces for the rook. It's not worth it. So he had to kind of change his MO. And now he's going to be going after here. Surprisingly, this is still good for White. White's actually preferred by the engine, even with this tremendous attack coming down the wagon trail. Okay, let's see here. Bishop e6. He's got to somehow protect this because it's being attacked twice, so he has to protect it with the bishop. We have bishop f6, a really nice move. I was kind of surprised that he didn't give this an exclam, because this is a really nice move. It's just a normal move. He's saying that king e8 is nothing better, because then you have knight to e4, and then bishop to c6, and then you got knight g5. And now now you're hurting pretty bad here, because now you're trapped. So he's kind of trying to not get his queen trapped. He wants to prevent this from coming to pass. He actually played bishop d5, which is actually a question mark here. This is actually a losing move here. Now white goes awry with his flashy combination. Black actually played g6 here. He's saying that if black would have went all guns blazing with bishop takes, this is actually an exclam move here. And then if knight takes, then wait a second, hold on. It says rook takes. What did I miss here? Oh, ooh, not good. I put in the wrong. I see. Hold on, I think I did that one wrong too. Let me see. What am I missing? Oh, okay. He did bishop f5. Okay, I see that. Okay, I did it. I had the wrong move. This is still a mistake, though. It makes sense why g6 was played by him now. But bishop, if white had played this move here, bishop takes. This is actually for white, not for black. If bishop had taken here, exclam, rook takes, bishop, and then g5, knight to h4, rook c8 check, or e8 check. Rook would have to intercept. Oh, rook takes, and then rook. Oh, he doesn't do rook, okay. It would be bishop intercepts at this point. And then knight to e4 with the protection here. Still much better, so he kind of went a little. That should teach us right there, my chess cruncher friends, is this, that don't do flashy moves. If simple wins, go simple. Don't do flashy moves. It costed white the game. He did do a nice move here, so he pawn move here. This was an exclam, so he is rebounding from his slight inaccurate move, forced by for quite a pretty idea here. See, he played bishop d5, which is an exclam right back at him. There's actually, you got to be careful of bishop takes g5. I mean, yeah, bishop takes f5. Knight takes knight was a very good game for white, as the knight can't be captured. So he can't be actually captured here. If he captures, he's gonna have a really bad problem there because of this. Hello. So he basically pinned the knight with the same idea of now playing the capture with the pawn after the pin, and the knight can't move then, and so the pawn would have to take back, and then the knight could actually come in and cause a lot of chaos. Okay, so we have bishop to e. Bishop. Let me see here. Bishop e6. He's trying to have this takes happen. He wants black to take. This is actually what was played here. Knight takes. Excuse me. Knight takes. If black had taken with bishop takes, then knight takes is also about equal, because now you can take back via this way and it's an equal position, which now I would favor white because of this weak diagonal that has just opened up for us. And now it's white who's actually more developed than black. So black didn't fall for that. Black just took the knight and said, "For real? Are you serious? Do you think I'm gonna fall for that?" And the bishop took, and the bishop and black's like, white's like, "Oh, okay." Again, Forrest Black's next move establishes a 1 position. Black's next move has a winning position. He got rid of the dark squared bishop that would have loved to come to c4, c3, but no longer has the opportunity to do that because it got captured by the knight. So this is basically a 1 position for black now that the rook has been terminated off the board. Rook to f4, exclam, rook e4, or I like to call it, instead of termination, I'll just say captured off the board. So c6. Or I like this, eliminated off the board. There we go. That's an even better one. Eliminated. There we go. That's much better. A good move which drives off the bishop from the defense. Luckily, white can't play rook takes rook, because it would be so white has to arm removed might be better. Okay, bishop b3 there. So what he's saying is he can't actually play this here because bishop takes, and now this rook's hanging and this pawn's hanging. The power of a double attack. So he has to retreat back. Queen or rook d e2. Well, here. Here we go. Now we're taking we're sending the hammer down. There we go. Oops, that's not the right spot. Oh yeah, it is. Sorry, that is the right spot. Oh man, look at this. All these pieces are I and eyeball and that's an exclam. Eyeball and the f2 pawn. d4. Bishop takes d4. Rook takes rook. Rotates rook. And g5. Actually, that is a pretty nice move. That gets an exclam. That's a really nice move. That's it's kind of like, whoa. That's actually a exclam move. I would have been tempted to have actually played this here, but I think it ends up a mate and one for white. If we did that, we would have been just too greedy, a little bit too greedy. So h6 stops this idea here via having coming here, there, and then over, and we're good. What we could do is after check up here, rook check, and then bishop intercepts, and this move still is playable with a pin. Rook c8 check, e8 check, rook e8 check, I mean. King h2, or g5, so, it's about equal position. Yeah, they said that they're about the same. Because of this, then you have then the king would have to move. And now you have the ability to go. Now you have to be careful that he doesn't send your queen pinned. So it might actually be potentially a problem. But I think with this, and even if we had this that happened, I think we would still be okay here. Let me see. There's f2. Let me take f2. This is why there's a check. And then g2 and bishop takes. And so we actually have 2 extra pawns for the good after king takes. And this pawn's still hanging, so he'd have to play c. Actually, he can't play c3. We just grab it. Wow, we're 3 pawns up. Wow. Okay. Pawn takes pawn check. King h2. So this is a first exclam. He's saying that if we take the pawn first with the king, queen to h2, queen takes, king takes, rook takes pawn check, And white's bishop is protected. Black, therefore, is still in hot water. Well, I would say back at this point here, I would say that it's 1 here if you're talking about black. Yeah, I would consider this probably almost 1 here. With proper play, you would potentially be able to convert this. So it would take a little bit, but you would be able to convert it. And if you know your endgame, that's why we study endgame a lot on here, is so that we're prepared for the time we enter the endgame. Yeah, they're opposite color bishops. You would have to know your endgame. And the sad thing is, it's one of the most neglected areas of chess is the endgame. So the reason I said it would be 1 is for most players, not chess crunchers, not Team Chess Cruncher, because Team Chess Cruncher studies their endgame. For most players, though, that it would be lost because they wouldn't know how to handle the bishops of opposite color. They would think because you're 2 pawns up, oh no, I'm lost. But you're right. Opposite color bishops have a tendency of being drawn. So always push for victory, even if they're doubled like that. Go for victory. Test your opponent to see if they actually have a good endgame understanding. And if they do, then the position will turn out to be a draw. But if they don't, then you'll win, because you'll know how to handle it. So now he's trying to trade down here, so we have to trade. Rotates pawn check. So he's going down that line. King H there. And then now we grab another pawn. Talk about pawn. I gotta say, because what's the worst thing that happens? Bishops of opposite colored are usually drawn, but you know what? You never know. But you know what? I'm glad that I was able to help you with the talent the Lord's given me in chess. So let's see here. Okay. Pawn to B. This move is to protect A2 and protect the B4 pawn. Rook C3 check. King to G4, and then rook to E2 E3. Now this is a 1 position. If white trades, it's still 1. The ending is 1 despite the bishops of opposite color, because we have the theory of 2 weaknesses. We have this. We have the old fox and the chicken coop idea from Jeremy Silman. I believe that was chapter 3. It's you trade off. You use this as a decoy, and then you walk your king over, and you cause a lot of chaos over here on this side. Okay. Takes rook. Bishop takes. And then H4. Bishop D2 to go after the pawn. Pawn here. Knight takes. Pawn takes, not knight takes. Pawn takes. And then now we play A5. This is if our opponent wants to. we will take, and the coolest thing is here, the queening square is the right color. The queening square is the right color. See? With our bishop, the same color. If he took here and then we took, the queening square would be the same. So it's not a draw. So he did take in passing. Bishop takes, semi-pawn takes. Bishop to b3. King to g7. And then king to f3. He's trying to use one piece, and what he wants to do is he's going to try somehow. I don't think it's possible now because of the bishop being on the same color. He would love to sacrifice this bishop for this pawn, but the problem is same color as our bishop, so it doesn't have the drawing idea. The winning process is clear. White's king can hold back only one pawn, whereas black's king supports the advance of the other pawn. So king e4, a5, bishop c2, g5, bishop d1, bishop e1, king e3, and then king f5, bishop c2 check, king to g4. White resigns. Both players have shown their advantages. Okay, well, then now we'll go into our puzzles. But it was really an interesting opening for sure. I mean, an interesting middle game. Okay, now we're going to do some of our puzzles. So get ready to do some puzzles. I'll pull up another one. Okay, dokie. Hey, how you doing? Play the grub. Let's make sure I have this right. Okay, perfect. That's good. Oh, you did? Let me get a drink of water. this one. Okay. I'll have to keep this in. We'll look at that after we get our puzzles done. Maybe the no-see-ums are out right now. Very annoying little bugs. Actually, 2 bishops for white. Yeah, they're double trouble, as I like to say, the bishops. Yeah. There. Alright. It happens though. You know, it does happen. Boom. Yeah, I was thinking of trying to make this work, but the only problem is he's got this to flee to after this. So this doesn't turn out very well. So there's really only 2. Yeah, I think this is kind of an interesting pawn structure. Wait and see what black has here. That's 2, 2, that's 6. So that's 2, 3, 2, 2. Oops, I almost forgot a bishop. 3, 2, 2. Gotcha. I don't know. I think it's the other takes. I don't think c3 queen takes c3 works. I don't think bishop takes c3. Bishop takes c3. King takes c3. Queen takes. I think he can flee to f2. So that's not the right one. Tell me if you want a hint on which one's the right one. There's only one that's right. And yep, you got it. Great job, Boardwalk. Yep, that's the mate. Kaboom. Nice work. You know what? Keep up the good work. See, we're a team. We always keep improving. Because we're all in this together as Team Chess Cruncher. This one's a really interesting one. This one involves a double check. I'll give you a hint. This one involves a double check for mate. Haha, nice. Hey, how you doing? Nice. All right. The whole team is here. Now we can get the puzzle party started. I thought you'd like that. That was kind of a funny thing. You gotta enjoy the puzzles. So we're making it into a party. Perfect. All right. Let's see who's the quick. Oh, you got it. Wow. Let's see if it's right. I haven't even got to even look at it. Let me see here. Okay. Yep. You got it. That was a blitz right there. There we go. I can't even go there. Oh, nice. Because there, and there's covered by that, so he's forced to take at that point. Okay. Oops, let's see, did I? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so bishop there. Ours is a light square, a dark square, and light square bishop. So one there. I got a knight. Let's see, did I forget anything? Oh yeah, I did forget white's king, so that would really help there. Okay, let's see. 2, Same there. Okay, we're good there. We're good, still good, and we're excellent. Right on. Yeah, there you go. Put it on the Grandmaster calculating glasses. That's the thing. I think you have the queen check. What? I think the queen check. What's the number for the queen check? Oh yeah, you're right. You got it. Let me see. Hold on. You got it right. Let me see here. Let's see there. Let's see. Can he actually move? No. So he has to take. Okay. Let's just check and see if there's anything. Yep, you got it. There we go. Bishop F2. Yep, you guys got it. There we go. Nice job. Yeah, I always think of, instead of baking a cake for a party, we're learning our chess patterns. And it's really healthy for the mind too. There we go. Let me see here. Excuse me. I need a knight. Okay. So A8, B7. We're good there. Okay, perfect. Perfect. And we're great. We're right on now. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, you got Lucinda's mate. Not Lucinda, Anastasia's mate. I was thinking endgame there. This is called Anastasia's mate. Or Anastasia's mate. It's a mating pattern. Sometimes the knights that are here can actually do it too. A knight that's there can actually set up an Anastasia's mate. Sometimes actually will occur. I'll go to the board editing here. The same type of position, this could actually arise here with the same protection mating ideas. Then there's also there's this that could actually happen too. I'll set up a puzzle that that it's white to move here. This is another way to set up an Anastasia's mate. Do you see the way to set up an Anastasia's mate here? It's mate 2. This is just a puzzle I thought of. I've seen it before in a game that has been played by some grandmasters. Yep, that's right. So usually an Anastasia's mate happens when there's a pawn sacrifice. I mean, a piece sack that could actually arise out of it too. Usually it's like an Anastasia's mate can actually happen in this type of a scenario too. I'll show you. If you had a and it's white to move here, it's not about material. I'm setting up one more Anastasia's mate for you, then we'll move on to our puzzles. This is a pattern, the Anastasia's mate. This shows that it's not about material. This position right here would show this. It's about checkmate. And do you see the checkmate? Do you see the mate here? And then this is my last one on the Anastasia's mate. And then we'll get going. It's white to move mate and 2. There you go. It shows us right here. It's not about material. It's not about material because you actually checkmated with a knight and a rook. And look how much material black has, and it still is not. It still isn't enough to merit losing the game. Alrighty then. Let's get on to our next puzzle. I couldn't help but set that up just for a teaching method that it's not about material. That was just too sweet to let go. That's kind of why I like Paul Morphy's games. He just would sacrifice, and all of a sudden it would just work. It's just amazing how he did it. Okay, I'll be right back. I'll leave you to work on this puzzle, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what's here? So let me see. So h4 is what you're talking about. King h6. This is the setup for mate 2. I don't think h4, I'm not sure if, let's see here. Oh. Sorry. 3 rooks. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, now it works. Okay. That's funny. That is funny. Yeah, this is the move here. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. 3 rooks on the board. Oh boy. Uh I don't know how I got 3 rooks on the board. I thought I put a queen down. That is funny. And my mind registered that I put a queen there, but I was like, none of these mates work. Then I'm like, the reason is no queen on the board. That would help. Let's see here. Oops, I forgot a knight. Now let's get this set up too. Oops, I gotta get king. So 2. There's king. Here we go. We're good there. Good. Good and good. Perfect. Now this is right. There we go. Just making sure I have all the pieces 100%. Yeah. Okay, I got it. So this is good. Let's see. Takes. King takes, and then no, not knight there. Let me see here. C5. Yeah, I think that's, yep. Knight C5's because you cover the flight square here, and see that was the one problem, this flight square, and so the knight covers that with a discover check. 2, 3. Alright, perfect. Let me see, here we go. Yeah, the other one doesn't. The rook takes doesn't work. It has to be queen. Because the other one, the knight here doesn't work. It's the other one. Okay. Come on. Don't stall on me now. You're doing so good, computer. Come on. Don't stall on me now. Uh-oh. Yay, no stalling. Good. Sometimes it goes, it's not gonna respond. And it's responding good now. There. Oops. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Let's see, we got that. Right there. We're good here. Good there. Good there. Excellent. Okay. One more after this one, and then we are ready for our end game. Queen takes H, king takes, and then rook. Oh, no, that doesn't work. So it must be G5. Yeah, the problem with rook to F8 is that bishop takes H. So we have to block and have a discovery because the knight covers G7, and now we're good to go. This blocks. One last stand of this puzzle, and then we're into our end game. Yeah. Hoorah. go. Let's get the go. Give everybody a chance. Oh, okay. That's funny. Okay. Yep. I think that's all there is, and there ain't no more. Okay. Let's get into our end game now. So make sure I have all this right. Yep. And it's white to move. Yeah, we did Capablanca. Capablanca. I think he faced Marshall. Yep. Capablanca versus it was Marshall is white and Capablanca is black. Yep, that was an interesting one. This game shows that Capablanca has completely mastered the idea of patience, avoidance of counterplay, white's three advantages: more active rook, space, superior pawn structure is appealing. This is all that the Cuban genius needed to grind out a win. Yeah, Jeremy Silman. Yep, you got it. Jeremy Silman's complete endgame course from beginning to master. Yep, you got it. I like it. I also like Bruce Pontifini's endgame book, but I would say for a chess player who's first starting out in the endgame, Jeremy Silman's Endgame Chorus is the most friendly book that I have seen. Except there is one. Capablanca made one of his own Endgame books too. Joel Raul Capablanca made one, and I think it's called like Basic Endgames or something like that. And that's a really good starter too. Yep, exactly. So you're white. White to move. White to move. Well, I would say we're talking about endgame studies. Play the grub. Yeah, I'm sure. Because endgame is a vital section of chess, an area that isn't You got it. There it is. G2 to G4. Oops, I should have put 2. And there, I'll copy that so I got it. Oh, it is? Okay. Then that works. White's rook looks impressive on the half open F file, but they can't do damage if they can't infiltrate into hostile position territory. G4 is the first step towards infiltrating, since a well-timed G5 opens the F file for white to come crashing through. Black played B6, intending to gain space with C5, C6 to C5. Okay, now you're white again. White to move, and this time you got to find an exclam. Now you have to find white to move, exclam. So this is an exclam move here. It's white. Well, remember, what is Capablanca's idea? He wants to stop all of Black's counterplay. Think about stopping all of Black's counterplay. There's one move that stops all of Black's counterplay. H4. Yes, remember, that is it. That is a good one. But remember, you still have counterplay. Yes, boom. That's it. Kaboom. Because what does this do? A4, B4 is actually the exclam move. It fulfills one of Jeremy Silman's ideas of doing something called a deep freeze. This wasn't played. I'm just showing you an idea. If Black sillily plays B5, he can't push without losing material, and that's the whole idea behind B4 was to stop C5 from happening, C6 to C5. It also stops A5, because if you could take, and then rook comes over and you've picked up a... So this stops Black's counterplay. And remember, you want to patiently squeeze all the counterplay out of your opponent's play. You don't want to have... Remember, this is cat and mouse. Patience. Patience is the key in endgame. When you get into a rook endgame like this, patience is the key. A5, A4. The only problem with A4 is that he still has his idea of C5. See, Black wants to get some type of counterplay. You have to squeeze all, like I always say that you have to basically take all the counterplay out of your opponent's position. Don't let him have any. A4 stops B5, but Black's idea, Capablanca could feel, is C6 to C5. So that's this B4 move stops both ideas of A5 counterplay and C5 counterplay, and that's the whole point of it. Is Black wants to get counterplay, and with B4 it stops it all. Every last bit of, I like to say, energy, if you is totally gone out of that position. Black now has to yeah, it's beautiful. Black has to basically now recalibrate, as I like to say, a whole different idea. He has to go back to they have to go back to the drawing board, and because their idea was to play C5. Now that B4 is played, now Black is thrown into kind of, if they're in time trouble, which usually when you get to the end game you're low on time, this one move could cause blunders to happen in your opponent's camp, because their whole idea was based on c5, or sorry, c5 here. Now there's no c5. Yeah, basically. Yeah, you get to open also potentially if the B file ever opens up, you also can stick a rook on B1 check and cause some attack. Yeah, it's all about basically doing that. Capablanca was a master of eliminating his opponent's counterplay. Somehow, I don't know, I think it was a gift of the Lord that he had, that he can sense where his opponent was going to play, and he could basically play a move that stopped it all. Okay, so I know, as I like to say, a null move, King B7 isn't a bad move. Black's now passing the move back to Kappa and say, okay, what you gonna play, friend? And then White just patiently plays King F2. Yeah, King F2 is actually a really nice move. If there's no threats, then Kappa will happily improve his position. Alright, oh sorry about that. I need to hold on. I gotta go back to B4. I wanted to read you what he said. Nowadays, this is a well-known idea in such a position. White with one pawn freezes A6 and B6 and C6, like what we talked about, and effectively eliminates Black's whole queenside pawn mass. In other words, one pawn dominates four. Okay, now we'll get back to the spot we're at now. So one pawn dominated four pawns, and that is a stellar idea. If there's no threats, this is what Jeremy Silman said, then Capablanca will happily improve his position of his king, the position of his king. White's philosophy is clear. Don't rush. Stop all queenside counterplay. Centralize the king, and slowly but surely prepare to blast the F and G file completely open. White wants to develop the king basically to E3, and then send in the demolition squad of Gary and Harry to destroy the walls of on one side so that the army can blitz in. Okay, so Black plays B5. So now one pawn dominates how many pawns? One pawn dominates four pawns. B5 looks an ugly looking move that creates serious threats. Black wants to play King B6, followed by A6 to A5 with counterplay on the A file. So that's his idea. So now I'm throwing the tennis ball. I'm hitting the tennis ball back into your court here. White to move. Oh. And this is an exclam move again. This is an exclam move. Remember what's oh, you're funny. You're funny. So Black's idea is to play King to B6, right? Black's idea is to play King B6 and go A5. How can you stop all that? There's one move that stops it. Yeah, but think stronger. Think even stronger. But think even stronger than a3. What's even stronger? c4? Well, remember, his idea is to play the king here and the pawn there. How can you basically eliminate that for good? There's one move that eliminates that for good. g4, a4, kaboom. That is a really nice move. Because if he takes right now, then what happens is your rook is free along the the whole fifth rank. So even if the king got here and played there, your rook can grab the pawn on a5. It stops all of his counterplay. And this rook can come over, the f1 rook can come to a1 and then attack the pawn and win it. If it gets too far down the board, the other rook can come over and stop it. So don't feel like a4 was impossible. This stops all counterplay. A4 refuses to give his opponent any at all counterplay. Now king b6 walks headfirst into a5 check, and so he's not looking too good here, and then that would shut down the entire queen side. It just shuts down the entire queen side of the board. And b takes, this is what he says, b takes, rook a1 followed by rook takes b4, leaves black's position in shambles. That's what Jeremy Silmans would say, that this type of move, if he took, would leave black's position in shambles. So he plays rook d4, trying to get some counterplay here. Rook b1 to hold. So this is actually promote main line. Rook b1, and then he plays rook e5. This is a dubious move here. This doesn't really do much for black's position whatsoever. This is actually a horrible move. He says this loses and is really bad, Jeremy Silmans says. But worse would actually have been pawn takes here. This is actually a mistake. The other one's at least a dubious move. Then rook a5. Rook e5 here. King e3 to attack this rook. And the rook can't take here because if it did, it would open up onto a discovered check. So he can't do that. Rook d6, and then rook takes a4. And now with the potential of rooks being doubled on the a file, it's all over but the crying, as I like to say. Rook takes is winning for white. Black could have made use of his final chance and tried on move 5. He could have actually tried a5 here. This is actually an exclam move. This is black's last ditch attempt of counterplay. Best if a takes b. Now let me see here. Hold on, let me make sure I have this right. Okay, rook takes b4, and then now c takes c6 check, king takes, and then rook to a1. Now we're doubling up attacks on this pawn. A4, rook A5. Now we've totally owned that pawn. Rook B2, giving black far more counterplay than he deserves. That's what he says. Thus, the correct move is, let me see here. Rook takes. It takes B. Rook C, C5. Rook E6. And then King E3. Yep, that's right. King B6. Rook takes C6 check. Rook takes C6. Pawn takes C6. King takes and then D4 and D4 exclam. And the king and pawn endgame is very pleasant for black. No, very unpleasant for black. Sorry. Here, King B5. King D5. C6. King D6. C5. King D5. B6. King B6. H4. H6. King E6. King B5. King F7. C4. Takes check. King takes. King takes. King C3. King takes F6. King takes C2. E5. B3. Boom. With a winning queen and pawn endgame. So he blew, and basically he lost. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Capablanca knew what he was doing when he played. King E3. The king chases the rook from the active position, and white takes total control of the game from here on out. Rook D7. Now, one last move here. There's more, but I mean, this move gets an exclam. So what's the move now? White to move, and this basically clamps down on everything. There is no more play. Yep, A5. You got it. A5. all of black's hopes and dreams of counterplay has totally been smashed to pieces. It's sad. It's over. This is almost resignable. It's that sad of a position for black. This is pretty. This is a pretty sad position. I wouldn't want to play it. The ending black's dreams of queenside counterplay once and for all. That's what Jeremy Silman said. So e6. If any trades happen now, it helps. Yeah, all of black's counterplay has been squelched or squashed or whatever they call that. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. He could yeah, he could try c5, they're saying, but b takes c and king c6. D4 is now protecting the pawn and attacking the rook. And rook takes f and g takes f. Now this even clamps down on the king side too. This is yeah, for those that want a taste of kind of, you know, slow depriving of counterplay. This is the setup that he's talking about right here. Black would force the total enduring counterplay squeeze till there's nothing left. Yeah, you know, it's interesting to see how that position can actually arise. Now h4. Okay, we'll take a look at that really quick after this. Because I think, let me see. Yeah, we're almost done here, and then we'll take a look at that. Let me see. H. Oh man, Shivitz. What did I? Did he go? Did I do that wrong? Let's see. King c6. Okay, I gotcha. Instead of king c6, there. Okay, we're good so far. Now it's black. If black played e7, or rats. What did I miss here? Did I miss something? Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't forget anything here. Okay. c5, b takes. There. Okay, so he's saying that if rook e7, I think it's e7, h4. Oh, is this after the trades? Oh, okay, this must be after trades here. Okay, here we go. Okay, had the wrong one set up. How many pages left? One page. One page. I just wanted to, I had to make sure I had that right, because yeah, that's it. This is the takes, and then instead of taking here, actually taking, and then how would that? Okay, we got it now. h4, king. Here we go. Now we're right on. Rook g1, king d7. We're good. We're good. d4. Now we're on. We're right on now. c3. Everything has been totally left. King f4. So everything's just getting deprived. There's no chance. This is locked down. H5, D8, King E3. Yep, exactly. You're saying also what's an interesting setup here. Back here, let me see. Okay, we're good. Let's keep this a rolling. Okay, so rook E8, rook C1, king E7, C4, B takes, rook takes, queen D6. How does queen D6 get involved? Uh-oh. Did I make a blunder here? Let me see. This is the problem here. D4. King E8. Wait. D7. There we go. Wait a second. I did that right. Hold on. It's not this. Okay. It is this. Then it is this. That's there. Okay. I want to make sure. King E8. Hold on. C3. C3, not C6. C3. Oh boy, sometimes yeah. There we go. Okay, now let's get on to black. Let's see. White plays rook B to F1. Now that all of the counterplay of black has been dissolved, white's going to go along with his plan of G5. With black's counterplay permanently suppressed, white goes back to his plan of conquering the F file. D7, G5, takes, rook H6, rook G3, threatening to play D4, followed by E5. So black tries to stop this by bringing his rook to the E file with H to E6, H4, G6. He's saying that potentially rook H6 could have actually been played here, but then rook G4 and is there is certainly no improvement here for black. It's actually worse. King g5, h6, king g4. A new weakness has been created on g6. Rook g7, d4, king c8, and rook f8 check. King b. He can't risk bringing the king to e6 because the rook will get in behind the pawn and start munching. Bam, yeah. So this would actually be a I would consider this a double question mark. He never talked about it, but this actually allows rook a8, and it's all over now. You could try playing this. You could, and then supporting it via that way, but there's just too much counterplay. So potentially maybe taking via. I'm thinking instead of taking d takes, b takes c5 with d, and then c6 would be stronger. Okay. Let me see, where are we at? So we're at 16. King b7, e5, g5, king e4, rook e7, h takes g, h takes g, and then rook g5 to win this pawn and create a passer. Here's a quick checklist for black. More king activity, more rooks, far superior pawn structure, about to win material. Boom. Black could resign here with a clear conscience, Jeremy Someone says. The rest of this is walk in the park. That's what I call it. King c8. G takes. H there. H7, and then rook 8, g5. King d7 now. Rotakes, rook f8, trying to get in behind here. Rook h4 check, king d3, and rook h3 check, king d2, with the idea of trying to get in here and then kind of make a support point for this pawn chain right there. c5, desperate, and is all that he has left to play. So b takes c, rook a3, and then d5, and as usual his opponent resigned here. So, but there's actually a sideline on move 26 here. Black could try king e6, rook a8, king d5, rook takes here, king takes, rook takes c, h2 check, king c1, takes e5, and rook takes c7, and it's all over now. It's all over now. He's got a pass pawn here and one more We're losing one more pawn. This is what it says at this point, king here, and then we'll get to the game. This is it here. It says, okay, so Capablanca was able to make lower, and he was able to tighten his opponent's counterplay. Grandmaster like Marshall, Jan Dukorski's looked bad here. How did he do it again with a monster like Lasker? Well, let's take a look. Capablanca had lost to Lasker in 1914, and due to the war, they didn't play again until a match with Lasker's title was arranged in 1921. To be fair to Lasker, he was no longer in his prime and out of patience. Basically, that's what he's saying. And basically Capablanca, of course, was acute. He had a lot of understanding in chess endgame. After 14 games, Capablanca was ahead by 4 wins to none. 2 were lost by very basic blunders, and Lasker he resigned the match on this one coming up, thus making Capablanca the new world champion. Here was the situation later after the final game in Lasker's own words. Towards the end of the 4th hour, just before the time control, I was almost exhausted, and with several obvious errors, I ruined my entire strategy plan. That's what he said. I was looking at the board as though a mist, and my head ached painfully. This was a warning to me, and I heeded it. Before you think that Capablanca was given the title by crushing a setup, Lasker, considered 3 years later the best player on the planet, basically resigned and lost his title. I think it says in New York 1924. Now 50. He's now 55, and they call him the Old Lion. Shocked the world by winning the event after even the mind-blowing score of 16-14, a point and a half ahead of second place finisher Capablanca. So he at age 55 shocked the world. Age 55. He's still, even though he lost his title, I think what Jeremy Silman is trying to say is age doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. I promised that I would do Play the Grubs study really quick. I promised that I would do that. Okay. And then we'll go over this game here. Okay. Although... Okay. So what you're saying is that potentially D5. Ah. Okay, knight BD2. Bishop D6. So bishop G2 and knight GE7, castles and castles, and then knight H4. Okay. Okay. So, and then castle. So what you're saying, this is more common move the move of theory back in the day. Okay, so d5 was actually more common theory back in the day, instead of castles for black. So Bobby played so knight bd2. Okay, so e5, knight d5, knight bd2, f6, e takes f6, knight takes f6, and then e1 gives white an edge. See Bobby Fischer in the book. Okay. So rook b8 here for black. Or black could try, could try d5, rook e1, b5 to control the queen side, e5 to try to clamp down the center, knight d7 to attack the pawn, knight f1, trying to get his bishop involved. Probably the next move is to get bishop there if he can. Let me see. Then b4. That's another clamping move. b4, black's clamping white's queenside counterplay. h4, a5, bishop f4. There we go. The reason if you're wondering why a4 was played, that's to stop b5. So you have to play a4 to stop b5 so that you can permanently place your bishop on f4. Otherwise, if you did f4 right away, he has g5. I won't delete any of this stuff, but I'm just saying though, just always remember sometimes you have to prepare to set up an outpost, and usually a pawn advance will do that. Okay, a5, bishop there, a4, and then a3. This move leads to double edge play, and it's still played in modern times, huh? Interesting. Okay. And then black played queen c7, mistake. So c takes d, c takes d, d5, and then e5, knight. Yeah, this is kind of a French gone wrong for black a little bit. This is a French gone wrong, because if you notice, this is kind of French pawn structure. White does have somewhat of a sitch. White wants to play f4, but his knight's in the way and the rook is cramping him. So, but it's a kind of French setup. e5, that's an exclam. Nice move. Knight d5. That's also preparing basically to. It's its only move, really. Well, I guess he could play here, but that blocks the bishop, so you wouldn't want to do that. So that, yeah. E takes f, bishop takes, knight there, takes, knight takes, yeah, takes, and then f4, e5, knight takes, kaboom, takes, and then c takes, and you're winning a pawn for white. Bishop e6, and then pawn takes. We takes, and you're a pawn up to the good. So e5, knight d5, e takes d6, bishop takes d6, knight e4, that attacks. And then he plays the wow, that is a real dubious move. Unpleasant to realize some pressure on the center, but other moves lose material. Engine disagrees with Fischer, and it says that bishop a5, or bishop a6. I mean, bishop takes, queen takes, pawn takes, queen takes, a4, and then bishop b2. Okay. So, all right. Queen takes, knight g5 is an exclam. So he plays knight ce7. h6 is actually a better move here, because what it does is it does double purpose. if black ever needed to, they can actually reroute via there. Also, it gives a flight square for the king, so it's not a bad idea. Queen h2, queen c2, and then knight g6. So f5. Then trying to undermine the pawn structure. Okay. h4. Double exclam, kaboom. Really much better. Knight h. If king takes, then bishop f4, d7, queen d7, and then you win a piece in that line. He played h4, which is actually a really good move. So knight e7, bishop there wins material. So this actually sets up for a potential winning of a bishop. It's bishop f, bishop d. And then there, queen takes, h4 loses to the rook takes, so h6 is actually a really nice move. Queen takes h4, g takes, king takes. If rook d8, then bishop g3, queen h6, and then queen e2. Okay. Okay, be blessed, and I'll see ya. Oops, hold on. Sorry about that. Let me get to that point again. So D is there. So then we did the rook, h5. So f4 or f5, and then bishop e check. Okay. e4, queen h5, bishop e3, f5, h4, bishop e8. If bishop g6, then rook g3 and you lose. So yep. e5, f6. If king g8, then check there, and then rook check, and it's all over. Yep. Queen d2, king f7, queen g5. So queen e7 here. Okay. Okay, be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Play okay. And you know what? Have fun in chess. That's what it's about. Because the Lord gave us a gift to be able to do it in chess, and you know what? It's a blessing to be able to do that. Okay. Wow, that's total domination. But if rook takes queen, takes... Oh, you're up a whole rook in that line. And it's game, set, match there. Black resigned here after Yeah. There we go. Great game. Okay. Okay, that was perfect. So I'm gonna probably end on that. Do you have any questions? Play the grub on this game or anything? Okay. Any questions? 360. Hey, it was a pleasure. It was a wonderful game. Okay. Alrighty then. Wanted to thank you all for logging on. I gotta say, Capablanca truly was a wise choice for Jeremy Silman to pick as an endgame player. Brilliant when it comes to squashing all counterplay of his opponent. That's just amazing that he did that. And we need to learn how to do that ourselves. What that teaches us is patience, 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 and look for tactics. That's a lot of Capablanca did a lot of tactics in his play because he was the one. That's how A4 came probably into his mind, was that it cut off the king's en route into the position, and he knew he had his opponent at that point. And so what we have to remember is mindset is huge in chess. So like what E. Nightingale says is that uh, what you think about really does affect how you play. So always keep a positive mindset on the Lord, and you can't go wrong. And remember, like what Grandmaster Yasser Seirawan says, every long journey begins with one small step. So your very first step is vital, same as your last. So it's the first step and the last step is always the hardest one. So like you could have, let's say, 7 or 8 games that you play. You've won 7 out of 8. The eighth one is sometimes the hardest one to get 8 out of 8. But just be patient and don't overthink it, basically, and just play good moves. That's and study your tactics, of course, for your middle game. But remember, when you do study tactics, to always put on your Grandmaster glasses. And like what Bruce Lee says, take what you know and then apply it to the board, and be willing and do something with it. And then you know what? You gotta treasure your victories. So when you win, treasure those, but learn from your losses. And remember that mistakes in chess do happen, even for world champion Emanuel Asker, and they've all made mistakes, and Magnus Carlsen and all that. They as long as there's a human, as long as we're human, and a creation of the Lord Jesus, that we do make mistakes. So, and it's how you handle the mistake that defines you. And do you get upset, or do you take it back and learn from it? Well, of course we take it back and learn from it. The reason we're doing Endgame is because, like what Bruce Lee said, that he didn't fear the person who practiced 10,000 different kicks, but he feared the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times. So if you practice 10,000 like end game positions, and you just work on them and get better, you're going to improve, so that when you get to the end game, you're going to totally be like Capablanca, a master of the end game. Let me see. And what Bruce said is, he said that there's one thing. Our minds do reach plateaus, but do we want to stay there or go beyond them? That's a choice that we have to make. And of course, as chess players, we want to go beyond the plateau that we're at right now. And We will do that because we're chess crunchers, and chess crunchers hang up their coat, they hang up their hat, they sit down and study when most won't. Chess crunchers do that. And it makes all the difference over the board and online and in your studies. So, and I'll leave you with this. Don't give up. If you fall down, knuckle down and get right back up. And as Wesley So says to the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless, and I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. And we'll keep pushing forward. And you know what? Honoring the Lord with our talents and our gifts, and never taking for granted the mercy that He gave us. Always, every day. And every day is a present that we should, be enjoy and honor the Lord with. So, you know what? Just like Hannibal Smith said, and he has the Capablanca idea, know what your opponent's going to do, like Capablanca did. Prevent it, but always have your plan in your back pocket so that when that happens, you implement your plan. And then when we get to win, when you win the game, you could say inside, I love it when a plan comes together. You can say that on the inside, not on the outside. You shake the hand. Sometimes you'll be able to even take and go over the game in the Skittles room with your opponent, and you both can find out where you can improve on. So, you know what? It's all up to you. And remember, it's a gift the Lord has given us. Great job. Go Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah. Be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. And we'll pick up Capablanca facing Emmanuel Lasker. 2 thumbs up. Bye-bye, and I'll see you tomorrow. Always have fun playing chess and honoring the Lord. Bye-bye.